Another story for you. This one is called The Nowhere Man. The Nowhere Man was feeling sad that day. He so desperately wanted to be liked, but sometimes it hurt him to think that he wasn't, well, really accepted. He flitted about from task to task, searching for an elusive something that he was sure he'd put in a safe place over there, but it had gone. The drawer was empty. He had a sandwich and a cup of tea and considered ringing his friend, but again he wasn't sure what to say. He had some idea that being a nowhere man, nobody was really interested in him. He liked to help others and made a point of it, but still when he looked in the drawer, it was empty. He went out for a walk, for the sun was shining and the grass was singing, but underfoot the road he walked moaned constantly at him, making faces at his thoughts and trying to trip him up if he thought really hard. He helped several people across the road and then went into the shop for dreams, but everything was too expensive for him. He studied the dreams that swirled and twinkled in the light from the window and spent a long time looking at some small dreams that he should possibly afford, but he had no money. And when he went home again and looked, the drawer was still empty. He listened to some harp music pumping out from the seashell that sat in the corner and thumbed through a book or two, searching for an answer, when the wind outside began to blow and blow, till it shrieked through the chimney and he thought the tiles on the roof were coming loose. After 2 hours of the storm, he took a look in the drawer, but it was still empty. He sat for a while in his favourite chair and thought very hard, hoping the road could not hear in case it tripped him while he was thinking again. And then it was time for bed, and of course he was certain the drawer would be empty, and it was. He lay there alone in his bed, thinking quietly and sadly that the drawer had it in for him, and he would always be empty whenever he looked inside. From time to time the Nowhere Man looked in the drawer, and sometimes he would only pretend to open the drawer to look inside, but it made no difference. It was always empty. He dozed off after a while into a deep, dreamless sleep, and then suddenly woke with a start. He wrenched open the drawer, which caused it to fly across the room and start flying about while he tried to catch it. Even if he was quick, the drawer was quicker, until after half an hour of jumping about, he sat on the bed and tried not to think at all. The drawer stopped flying about then and slowly landed on the quilt beside him. This time it wasn't empty, there was something inside. He took it out and looked at a piece of paper he had in his hand. Happiness is a state of mind, he read. Love is not elusive, but will happen when you are least expecting it, he read further. But there is a price, there is always a price, and that has to be paid in advance, and sometimes further instalments are necessary. He put the paper back in the drawer. It wasn't exactly what he had expected to find in the drawer. Outside the window of his room, the road moaned and grumbled to itself. The Nowhere Man looked in the drawer once more and saw that the paper had gone, and all that was left was a small glittery thing that flickered in the light from the moon. He looked closer at it. It seemed to be some sort of ring, he supposed, but as he reached out to hold it, it vanished and the drawer was empty again. He put the drawer back from where it had come and went back to bed. The wind howled and the house shook, and he was very frightened to look out of the window. About 10 minutes later, he heard someone weeping outside. He wondered who it could be and donned his clothes to take a look, but there was no one there, except the road moaning to itself and the grass humming quietly as it was wont to do at night. Impelled by a strange force, he marched out onto the road and began walking and walking. The road moaned loudly, even though he wasn't thinking much. At the corner of the next but one road, he saw a girl with a sunburnt face standing under a lamppost. Was it you weeping? He asked gently, for fear of scaring the girl. The girl sniffed once or twice and nodded. It began to rain, slowly at first and then heavier. I'm getting wet, the girl said. I've been waiting for you to come out and see me for the past 3 hours. Oh, said the Nowhere Man. I was asleep. Chasing the drawer more like, he thought. But I'm here now. How can I help? The girl smiled a bit at this and took the umbrella the Nowhere Man had with him, so that she was dry. We need to get out of this storm, she said, ever practical. So they hurried back home to where the Nowhere Man lived and went inside. And he sat her by the fire and made her a cup of tea, and after a while he sat down in his other chair while she sat in his favourite chair and sipped her tea slowly, as it was very hot. The wind howled around the house, but the road seemed to have fallen asleep at last till morning. After a while she fell asleep, and the Nowhere Man stood there watching her sleeping. Her face softened in the light from the fire, and then gradually he dozed off himself.